Good morning, Eyal. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, good morning.
It's really a pleasure to have you here. I want to talk a little bit about the Israeli ecosystem. What do you think about it?
First, thank you for inviting me here. I think the Israeli ecosystem is amazing. What you see here is everything from very, very small in seed stage startups and hundreds, if not thousands of them, up to very large, successful Israeli companies like Checkpoint, Wix, Fiverr, and many more. So you see a very large ecosystem or a wide span of companies from the very early stages until very mature companies. On top of that, you see a very good ecosystem of support like venture capitalists, angels, board members. There's more and more experience now in Israel to build technology companies. So I think the ecosystem and the environment in Israel for technology, for biotech, for fintech, companies that really want to make a difference, companies that have great ideas. Israel is a great ecosystem and has the infrastructure to support, build, including from the government, build the technology and startups from the first stages, from very early stages to mature companies.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. So how does it really feel to be one of the most successful Israeli entrepreneurs ever in the history?
You know, I don't see myself in that way. I don't think that way. I just wake up every morning and I go to work and I do what I need to do. And I have my own, goals and targets and achievements that I want to. So I don't wake up thinking of myself as one of the successful entrepreneurs here. It's just you need to continue working, focus on what's important, and leave everything else for other people.
That's amazing. But for all of us here, entrepreneurs, and these entrepreneurs in the crowd, you're really a big role model for us. So the question is, when you look at these young entrepreneurs, what tips do you have for them? They're just starting out and you're such a big role model for them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was yesterday in a board meeting of a very young company that I'm on the board or observer on the board and invested in. And I see like you come from the experience or perspective of already being through the stages. You see things differently from really being in the trenches and working on a daily basis. So it really helped. So, first I think what's important is focus on the technology. What will differentiate startups is the core technology, the value add they can bring. Then think as big as possible and try to expand the market and enable other people to use your core technology. Once you have a big advantage, so develop not just for one thing, but if you can really open up and look for multiple markets, multiple targets, and then build very superior, good technology, superior technology for those markets, then you have like a winning proposal. If you just focus on a niche or you say, okay, let's focus on not the highest, the most difficult technology, you'll become a Me Too company and other people will also be. But if you really have an idea and doing something special, extraordinary, then you have a much better chance to succeed.
That's amazing. So you think the Israeli entrepreneurs we see here and that are entering our network have a different challenges than other entrepreneurs around the world? Do you think, what kind of mistakes do you see them make?
No, I think entrepreneurs around the world have very similar challenges. The one thing in Israel that we're kind of away from the market. There's a distance from where you are to your main customers, be it the US or China or other places, Asia. So that's maybe the only, but those obstacles can be overcome by multiple ways. Other than that, you have the same kind of things you need to work on, achieve, and focus. So in terms of mistakes, sometimes people don't put large enough targets or large enough or I should say higher, more difficult to achieve targets or goals from technology side, and that's where you can really have a winning solution or a winning company. And some people are trying to say, okay, if this is where I want to be, if I can get somewhere mediocre or something that's not really superior, extraordinary, that's sometimes a mistake I see people do. So always strive to do.
So they don't think big enough.
It's not just big. Sometimes you need to decide if you really want to take the big challenge and tackle the difficult way to get to make it happen. Or sometimes you say, okay, let's make a shortcut, or let's reduce the requirements from what we want to do. And that's where people sometimes fail, and they get to something that is not what can make a big difference, but it's like mediocre. So if you really focus on something that is really differentiating, because everybody's working on similar solutions. You know, sometimes you think that you're the only one out there, but if there's a problem to be solved, a lot of people are focusing and working on this, and you need to know you're in a competition. And another thing which I think is very important is time. Time is the only thing, the only resource you have no control on, and you can never bring it back. So I always think that you should raise enough money, get enough fuel so you can take off. If you raise not enough money, or you need always to continue, then you're like in a deficient mode and you don't work as in an optimal or close to optimal manner. So try to run as fast as you can, get the resources you need to make it happen, and then you have a better chance to then become a larger company or a successful company.
Wow. Do you want to share one of your challenges that you had when you were a young entrepreneur just like these?
You know, we raised our third round, I think, during the September 11 crisis. We started before and we closed after. Wow. And I remember that during September 11, everything shut down, everything closed, and there were no investments. And I said, look, this doesn't matter. We're going to get, and we raised $56 million at a market cap of $256 million, right, I think a month after September 11. We closed the round when we had only $4 million in the bank with a run rate of about $2 million a month, burn rate. It was very challenging to close the round.
Wow.
But then I went and I said, look, the whole world is changing and things are melting down and that, but if you really focus on what Mellanox can do or what we can achieve and where we have already milestones of things we already have made, I think it's a very good investment, and you want to be part of this. And you know, other people can focus on September 11, but let's focus on the target in front of us. Everything can be burning around us. Let's focus, execute, do. And that was, I think, a very important challenge, a very big challenge that we had to close around, I think, a month after September 11.
Wow, this could be maybe a very relevant to the COVID-19.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I see a lot of people stop investing and so on, and there's a crisis around us. But you need to focus and execute. You can always, you know, use the COVID as an excuse for not being successful. But you know, there is COVID, you need to realize it's there, but you need to focus and make sure that you get what you need to get. If you need to close around, close around. If you need to get the milestones or get the technology out there, don't give yourself a slack. The world is not stopping because of COVID. Other people are running, they're executing, they're getting to their targets. Don't give yourself, you know, a break and say, there's COVID, I don't need to meet the schedules, I don't need to meet the goals. The world will not wait for you.
I love that.
Other people are just continue to execute, you need to continue to execute.
Wow, such great inspiration. And then if I look at these young entrepreneurs and I think of them building big companies, you know, Israelis, sometimes they say they want to sell fast, but some of them really want to build big companies. In terms of building manpower, and you know, we always say team, team, team. Can you share some thoughts on that?
Yeah, first I think the most important thing is the people. And it's the team that you build around you. And if you don't have the right team, you probably will not be successful. So yes, that's the most important thing. You need to find the right talents into every segment of the company. So there's like architecture that kind of define what you're going to do, then the execution, the engineering, then there's verification, quality, then operation, you know, manufacturing and all that. It's a lot of things, marketing, sales. You need to find the right people to lead each and every segment of the company, and with that build a very strong team and work as a team. No one can succeed alone. You always have to work as a team, be very open, be very straightforward with everybody, and just run as fast as you can as a team to execute what you guys want to do.
That's amazing. So when you grew and you scaled up in terms of manpower, did you feel the company needed different people at different stages, or did you just continue?
No, first you need to have the best people all the time. So that's number one. Yeah. But you know, we grew from like, let's say 4 people to 3,200 people.
Wow.
So that's a big difference in terms of management style.
Wow.
At the beginning, you know everybody, you know the families, you can really react and so on. When you're 3,200 people, you don't even know the names of all of your employees. So it's a big difference in the way you manage such organizations. But in terms of talent, you want to get the best people out of the university. You want to get the ones with the right integrity that you know you can count on. They will execute. They will be strong-minded to do what they need to do in the challenges. There's always challenges, so you need to find people that know what they're doing. You can trust them, you can believe in them, and execute, run with them as fast as you can.
So in terms of raising money, I'm just going back to that because you raise so much money from different verticals and different investors, and there's a lot of challenges in raising money, and a lot of our founders are asking, who they should be raising money from. Should they be raising in Israel, outside of Israel, VCs, angel investors? Do you have any tips or advice about raising money in general for these founders?
So first, they should raise money from anyone they can raise money from. That's rule number one. Money doesn't have color or smell or that. You need to raise the money in order to take off and to execute. Then you need to see if on top of the money there's an added value. So if one of your investors is close to the markets you're going after or has experience in the market, that's a big differentiator. Also, people that have done that. I think I see some board, and a board that has more CEOs of companies in similar areas, or CEOs that have been CEOs of public companies, have a big advantage in what they can help and what they can advise and lead and mentor you. So in Mellanox board, we had at least 4, if not 5, board members that were CEOs or ex-CEOs or CEOs of large public companies. I think that experience helps a lot. And in terms of investing, if you can raise money from such investors, it's a plus. But just get the money from whoever you can.
Wow.
And then find ways to get the other resources either from your investors or from other people.
That's very good advice for our founders. And in terms of mentorship, we provide a lot of mentorship at Techstars. We're mentorship driven. Did you have mentors? Do you believe in that? Or, how do you feel about this? Do you mentor young startups today?
I help startups. I'm on a number of small companies boards and so on. I think as a CEO, you need to find the resources that you can work with and learn from. It does not need to be one guy. You actually need to open and speak to as many people as possible, because then you can learn from multiple sources. But yeah, mentor always helps if you have someone.
Right. So when you look at young startups today, young founders, what do you look for in founders?
I look
How do you know if they're going to succeed?
First, there's you need to look at the basic elements or characteristics of the people you work with. You need to see that they know what they're talking about, that they can build with you teamwork, that the conversation with you is going in the right way, that they're not hiding away or shying away from things. You need to be able to build something together, and you want to work with them. So there's a lot of chemistry in this thing, but then from your experience of meeting so many thousands of people that you were leading, you learn to realize very fast who's talking straight and who's trying to curve the angles and so on. Then after that, you need to look at the background of the people, what they've done and how they've been successful. And sometimes if you see people that are making too many mistakes along the line, along their career, it's also a sign of someone in terms of the probability of success in the future. So there's a lot of indicators of what you want to look for when you work with entrepreneurs and how you can try and help them. Sometimes you see and you want to complement things that they're missing or bring them help in things that they're lacking. But obviously it's an experience thing.
If they're open to it, also to receiving your help, right?
Right. When you make a conversation, if you see them locked down and stay in their own opinions and are not willing to work as a team and accept things, that's a yellow line.
Yeah. I guess so. So what tip would you like to leave with these founders across the world? They're all going to be watching you from all of Techstars network around the world. What's your tip for them?
First, don't be afraid. It's a very scary world out there, but you're the leader, you're the CEO. So put the scary parts aside, put those feelings somewhere that you can control them. You'll always be afraid and scared throughout your career. Just try to control and put it aside. Execution is what the most important thing for focused execution. Not talking, but doing. So do more than you talk. Talk only what you know about. Pick the right people. Raise enough money. And build the technology that differentiates you, that gives you a big advantage over competition, because you're fighting either big companies or other young entrepreneurs that are trying to do similar things. So find your advantage, focus, execute, raise money, build a team, and go and do it.
Wow, I love this. So much inspiration, and what a great role model you are to all of our founders. Thank you so much for being here in this incredible virtual demo day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and a lot of good luck to all of you guys. Go and do it. I think it's very possible. If I did it, you can also do it. So good luck, and just execute.
Thank you so much, Eyal. I really appreciate it.
Okay.